Andy Muschietti talked about The Flash on another interview with some Latino podcast or show or something like that. And oh boy, did it really rile people up. More so, like I was actually shocked at first because it was everybody. It was the Snyder Bros, it was the cultist, it was the DC fans, it was the fans of The Flash, it was the DCEU fans, it was a little of everybody. But luckily, our boy Real Anarchy is able to take this apart. She's able to translate this word for word, and that's what he did. Prior to him doing this, though, everybody was taking what he said in bits and pieces and taking the translation and just pulling certain things. And one of the people, like the one thing that we're seeing spread around from all this is Andy Muschietti blames women for the Flash failures.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
That's not what he said. According to the translation that Real Anarchy did, he doesn't blame women for the failures of the Flash. He actually goes into very good detail on a plethora of things on how the Flash and why the Flash failed. But people are pulling out certain things and saying this and saying that about why the Flash failed. And specifically, they pulled out, he says women are the reason that the Flash failed. So I'm going to read what Real Anarchy had here. He says, translation, it's the result of mental health situation. It turned out the way it turned out. Let's say, he was dealing with a mental health situation. He's talking about Ezra Miller. When you make a movie, there are things you just can't control. One of them is when actors have a public relations crisis. He got into trouble, was arrested in Hawaii, etc., etc. I had, in general, a very good experience with him. He's a great actor, a great comedian. I was very surprised by him. But then, towards the end, I came across all of this. I'd say this happened months before the release, just before the premiere, and well, it was a setback. So there. That is one thing that we all knew, all of us, everybody before that movie, we all knew going into it that was going to hurt the movie. We all knew it. We knew that Ezra Miller's shenanigans were going to hurt the release of this movie. Did we think it was going to hurt it as bad as it was hurt? No, but we kind of knew that it was going to hurt it. And I'm not going to say that that was what made it only make $20. I know it didn't. I mean, $20, but it was a big reason why this movie struggled. He continues, later, other factors piled up, the fatigue with the superhero genre. Years later, I started learning about other things, like how when a movie like this is made, there's an expectation to appeal to all four quadrants of the audience. And this is a movie that, apart from everything else I mentioned, I think failed in the sense that it didn't appeal to all four quadrants of the audience. So he does mention the superhero genre, the fatigue that was going on. Now, I'm somebody who does sort of believe that there was a point in time where there was superhero fatigue, but I think it was more of a fatigue of people just annoyed with the lackluster of good movies coming out. I mean, you take a look from 2019, 2023, 2024. It just wasn't very good.
He's out of line, but he's right.
I mean, just the entire genre, whether it was TV shows or movies, you'd get a blip here and there of something good, but things were just not good. And I think it wasn't so much fatigue that we were sick of the superhero and the comic book movie genre. We were just sick of being let down. And it was just, why do we want to just continuously be let down? Why are we going to go see a movie to be let down again? You add into the failures of the DCEU. Again, you see that things just piling up. So he continues, when a $200 million movie is made, the studio expects to bring everyone, even your grandmother, to the theater. And in private conversations later on, I learned things like how a lot of people weren't interested in Flash as a character. Half of those four quadrants, the two female quadrants, many women didn't care about Flash as a character. He mentions that the studio as a whole will look at, when they make a movie, They take a look at the audience as 4 quadrants. And half of that quadrant is young women and older women. Obviously, they're saying that they couldn't get women as a whole to be interested in this Flash movie, and they didn't show up. And that also hurt, along with everything else that he mentions here that also hurt why people didn't go see the movie. Now, I sort of agree with that. However, I think that stuff with the women plays into what happened with Ezra Miller. The stuff that was going on with Ezra Miller, I think plays a role with that. But the Flash as a character was beloved. It had a very successful TV show going on for what, 7 seasons, 8 seasons? What was it? I don't even remember how many seasons it went. 9 seasons? However many seasons it went. So people wanted Flash. People enjoyed the Flash as a character. It was this Flash, this character, this iteration that they did not care for. So he says, these are things that worked against the movie, and I gradually found out about them. But he was very happy with the movie, and he still recommends it. So you take a look at this, and people need to sit back and realize, like, don't just pick and choose what you want to say and try and make Andy Muschietti out to be a bad guy here, or make it out like he doesn't know what he's talking. This was his first, like, he made the It films, which were big movies, but this was a different monster for him. This was a superhero film, and this was a genre that he hadn't played in. This was something new for him. So he was still learning as he was moving forward. And that's something, this is the type of stuff that you learn when you start playing in that in sandbox. So people need to relax. Okay. Now, I agree that there were many issues that happened with the Flash, prior to the Flash, around the Flash, why this movie failed. I enjoy the Flash movie. Is it a great movie? Is it the greatest superhero movie ever made? No. There are many issues with this movie. I like the story. And honestly, it's not a movie that I'm going to sit down, turn on, and like intently watch. But if I'm like, you know what, I need something on in the background, I'll throw on The Flash. I don't think it is a terrible movie. I enjoy the movie. There are reasons why that movie failed, none of which are solely on Andy Muschietti, none of which fall on James Gunn. Zero fall on James Gunn. I don't care what anybody says. Zero fault falls on James Gunn for The Flash failing. But a little bit falls on Andy Muschietti. A little bit, if not more, falls on Ezra Miller. A lot of it falls on Walter Hamada. A lot of it falls on, you take a look at everybody that it falls on a lot of people. We're past it. We move on. So what's going to happen is people are freaking out. Well, that's it. Andy Muschietti, he's done. He's not doing Batman. That's for damn sure. He's not doing Brave and the Bold. Nope, not doing it at all, right? What do you think? Do you think he's doing Brave and the Bold? I personally, I'm holding to my guns. The Batman in the DCU will not be Robert Pattinson. And while Muschietti may or may not direct the Batman Brave and the Bold, according to DC Film News, although Andy Muschietti and James Gunn have not met face-to-face since the filming of Superman, a source close to the parties confirmed Andy and Gunn speak regularly. Batman the Brave and the Bold remains in development and will be separate from Matt Reeves' universe. Thank you for sharing that, Boba Talks. And that's a great thing to hear. Very good thing to hear. We know things are moving forward. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. I think James Gunn has faith in Andy Muschietti. I think they want to distance themselves from The Flash. They want to get some distance from what Matt Reeves is doing. I've said this in the past. I think what the plan is they're going to do whether it's going to be a World's Finest or something. They're going to do something where Batman is brought in a team-up type of film prior to his Brave and the Bold, just to get him in there. That way Matt Reeves can have the spotlight with his Batman film, and you don't have 2 solo Batman movies going on. That's just my belief. But in the meantime, they're going to be developing the Brave and the Bold with Muschietti and just go from there. That's what I think is going to happen. That's how I think it's going to go. That's how I think it will go. But let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments, please, below. I want to know what you guys think. I think people need to back off of Muschietti. I think people need to just move forward from the Flash. I think at this point, let's just get excited. Superman's coming out, guys.